What's up, guys? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron, and if it's your first time seeing one of my videos, then welcome to my channel. We just chill and talk about music and all the things that we love or hate. And if you got anything you want me to check out, leave a comment below letting me know what it is, and I'll get you squared away. But for today's video, we're going to be checking out the new album, Ken, by the band Whitechapel. For those of you who don't know who this band is, they are a metalcore band from Tennessee. They started around 2006. Ken is their 8th studio album. And honestly, I've never been like a huge fan of Whitechapel. I've been more of a fan of like Fit for an Autopsy and The Art of Murder. And I don't know, I just can't really get into them, especially lately. The Valley was a fantastic album, but I've been a bigger fan of their older style of music, per se, their older deathcore kind of riff writing. But Ken is supposed to be a kind of part 2 to their last album, The Valley, in terms of songwriting and lyrical content and just going into the vocalist Phil Bozeman's life as a childhood and touching on some of the stuff there and just a lot of the emotion that came along with it. And the album opens up with I Will Find You, which is kind of reminiscent of The Valley, which, like I said, was based on Phil Bozeman's childhood and the death of his father, who was a horribly abusive man. And it starts out with some acoustic strumming that then transforms into just straight up death metal. The chorus has a solid guitar melody, and verse 2 has a very powerful cadence to it. It's got fantastic clean vocals in the bridge, followed by a guitar solo, and then more cleans. The outro is super heavy and emotional. I kind of like how Whitechapel is adapting this more experimental, clean singing, adding an acoustic stuff into their music. Then we have the song Lost Boy, which I already did a review on this one, so I'm just going to talk about it a little bit. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5, so I thought very highly of it. I think this is actually one of the best deathcore songs I've heard in quite a while. And like I said, they're not really afraid to experiment with different sounds that really play to their strengths in a way. And this one hits basically everything you could possibly want. It's aggressive, it's atmospheric, it has super chill moments in the bridge, it's got literally every single thing that Whitechapel is trying to really grasp at. It has it in this song. And then the song directly after it, A Blood-Soaked Symphony, starts off kind of slow and then just gets downright absolutely groovy with groovy metal inspired guitar riffs. It's got a haunting melody that starts to kind of like linger in the background a little bit, but it becomes more prominent in the chorus. And as Phil barks his lyrics at us, his distorted vocals, I know I give a lot of praise so far to his clean, but his distorted vocals are just so unique to him. They just sound so good. When you hear the music, I mean, if the music doesn't tell you this is Whitechapel, the distorted vocals absolutely will. And then it opens up into a pounding breakdown, and verse 3 has probably the most presence to it in this entire song, and it just sounds so good. Then we have the song Anti-Cure, which has a beautiful chord progression and fantastic guitar tone. It's more of like a hard rock vibe kind of song with clean vocals, and Phil's cleans in this song sound almost as good as his distorted vocals, and we get a little bit of both in the chorus until the distorted vocals completely take over in the bridge, then throughout the rest of the song. Then we have the song History is Silent, which is kind of along the same lines. It starts out with like a ballad-inspired intro. The music is phenomenal. It gives tons of like melancholy dream vibes as like the dark lyrics lull you away. Then the chorus has a good amount of motion thanks to the vocal effects and just the solid buildup from the pre-chorus. The growled vocals also really help push the passion through as it drops back down into just this low emotion in verse 2. The breakdown also has a good buildup going into a final chorus. And even though it starts out as a ballad, to me, I was expecting it to be kind of lame. But honestly, they did a fantastic job really exploring this different sound that they were going for and different style of writing. And separating those two softer songs, we have the song The Ones That Made Us, which jumps right back into the groove metal side of things. The chorus is humongous thanks to Phil's vocals, which are just downright nasty. The drum-driven instrumental with a guitar solo in the background sounds fantastic, and then the guitar melody starts to build and become a little bit more when the vocals jump in and they kind of play off of each other in the melody. The outro, I wish it was a little bit longer because I wanted something just a little bit heavier. I wanted a heavier kind of breakdown to just hit me, and it started to, and I just wish it was a little bit longer, but it definitely makes you want to start throwing stuff around your room. To the Wolves definitely helped scratch that breakdown itch as they go to their deathcore roots. The riff makes you want to start headbanging, and the quick vocal delivery makes it just feel like this onslaught of aggression. The guitar solo that comes along in this song, though, is just, I don't know, it was just okay for me. The riff in verse 2 is slightly more dynamic than the riff in verse 1, and the bridge is very atmospheric. And while this song has a lot of, like I said, just aggression, the bridge makes it feel like there's this essence of surrender as someone's just grabbing you by the shirt, shaking you around, and then all of a sudden they want to sit down and kind of think things out and talk it out and express why they're so angry. And then the chorus comes back in and pretty much just punches you in the face again. And right after that, we have the song Orphan, which brings things back down again. It's another hard rock kind of inspired song. The guitar passage and the tone and the vocal cadence in this is just absolutely flawless. The chorus has like a slight vocal breakup, but otherwise the song is mostly all clean vocals. The lyrics have great imagery, and I really enjoyed how Phil just wears his heart on his sleeve, really expresses and shows what's in his heart when he's thinking back to his parents and their passing. And it really is a sad song, and it fits the title of it perfectly. The song Without You is just an instrumental segue into the song Without Us, which has a stompy riff that just oozes old school deathcore. Then the song takes a very random turn going into the verses. It has clean vocals and it's very drum forward. And then it has powerful distorted vocals and tons of double bass kicks just plowing through the chorus. And then verse 2, it drops back down. You get clean vocals and a bunch of drums. And you don't really know where this song's going to go. The first time I listened to it, I was like, I wasn't really that into it. It felt very stereotypical of them to do something like this. But at the same time, it's very not Whitechapel-ish for them to do this. And then the bridge is a lot of people were saying that all these songs remind them of like Tool, or they're inspired by like A Perfect Circle. And I kind of hear it here and there. Sure, why not? I mean, the vocals are kind of the same, but I try not to compare somebody to someone else. Like, they get their inspiration from them just because their vocals sound the same, because it doesn't mean they're writing the same kind of stuff. But I will definitely say the bridge in Without Us is it's got some strong Perfect Circle influences in it. And not so much just in like the vocals and the vocal delivery, but in the effect and in the production in it. It just sounds very, I don't know, something like A Perfect Circle would do. And then it's got a guitar melody that plays throughout the final chorus, which just brings all this emotion to a climax. Then we have the closing track, which is also the title track, Kin. It's another ballad-inspired song with, this time it's got a piano carrying the musical melody, which sounds beautiful. The lyrics are full of nostalgia and sorrow, and then distorted guitars come in about halfway through, and they usher in a guitar solo, which is also full of sympathy. It's a very, very sad sounding song, and the outro is a combination of all these elements. You've got clean vocals, you got backing vocals that have just a little bit of a growl in them, you have acoustic guitar and electric guitar, and it's just, like I said, it's a combination of all these things you get throughout all of these other songs, and this time it's just all piled into one section of a song, and it works, it sounds beautiful. The acoustic guitar just strumming away while you have a guitar riff. It's a fantastic closer to this album. I would say that this makes it feel, I would say it's a concept album, but this one just makes it feel complete, where the Valley was very much open-ended. You didn't really know where the story was going to go once it was all over. And I would definitely say that the story feels completed now with this song Kin, which also fits the name of it. And I would say that they wrote this story pretty much perfectly, at least lyrically. Whitechapel brings a lot of different genres to this album. You got death metal, deathcore, you got groove metal, you got like hard rock ballady kind of stuff. And even the vocals show tons of variety. Not so much different from what we've heard from the Valley, but I would definitely say it happens more frequently. And while they explore all these different sounds, they don't really stray too far away from their core sound, the sound that makes them sound like Whitechapel. So it kind of gives them a little bit more confidence. It's like a bike rider who's used to just rolling around on the street and wants to go mountain biking one day. The first thing he does is he goes down a dirt road. I mean, it's something different, but he's used to doing it. And I feel like this is Whitechapel's dirt road, I guess. And because of that, it kind of lets them be a little bit more creative, a little bit more free. Because they're not venturing too far away, they aren't really going to mess it up all that much either. So my only issue with this album is mostly personal. Well, I guess this whole thing is pretty personal because it's all based on opinion, but I guess this is the disclaimer for that. I just wanted more deathcore from this band and from this album. I wanted more heavy moments where not just the lyrics are heavy and there's tons of like atmosphere and they kind of clean things up a little bit. I want something to just come in just heavy, and I want that emotion and the vocals to just power through just a fat riff towards the end, just driving home the emotion that all this song was carrying. I want Phil to just scream at me. That's what I wanted from this album, and I didn't really get that. And honestly, they pretty much have done away completely with deathcore in this album. Only a little bit of this thing was deathcore. It was more death metal, but honestly, is more like progressive death metal in a sense, with a lot more clean moments to it. And while I do like this album, I just wasn't really blown away by it. I was expecting a lot more, and I guess because of that, it kind of hindered how much I really enjoyed that. But it isn't going to hinder how much I appreciate it and what I really see it as being. I mean, because for what it is, they demonstrate just incredible songwriting and fantastic storytelling, and they really show how much they've grown and they matured as a band. Well, sure, I mean, I wish there was more deathcore in this, but there's just so much of that around anyways. They would have had a hard time not coming off sounding just overly generic if they just made a deathcore album, because literally every deathcore band is kind of starting to sound the same lately, and this is definitely a good way to avoid that. So like I said, all that, it's basically more personal than anything else. It doesn't really discredit this album for what it is. So with all that said, I gotta give Kin by Whitechapel a 8.3 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. Like I said, I liked this album, but I wasn't blown away by it. So let me know, did you like it? Is it not really what you were expecting? Or is it like the greatest thing you've ever heard? Leave a comment below letting me know what you thought and what you would rate it. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a like and leave a comment below letting me know what I should review next. If you want to help support me and my channel, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon. That way you don't miss out on any of my future stuff. Doing any of that stuff, or even watching this video to this point, it just does so much for me, and I appreciate it more than you guys could ever imagine. And even just doing that supports my channel just so much. And like I said, I appreciate it. And I hope you guys all have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you happen to be watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time.
I was trying to make it relying on